Rain, Rain by Anne Martin. Chapter 17, Waiting. The next morning my father wakes me up by saying, "You're in luck, Rose. School is closing at noon today." This is an unscheduled change. It's not on our school calendar. I frown and sit up. Why? My father is standing in the doorway looking at Rain and me in bed. Why, he repeats. Because of the storm you've been talking about all week. It's supposed to hit sometime tonight. If it's going to come tonight, why are they closing school today? Geez, Rose, I don't know, so people have time to prepare, I guess. Just go with it. You get half a day off from school, okay? Uncle Weldon drives me to Hadford Elementary, and Mrs. Liebler walks me to my class. Everyone is talking about Hurricane Susan, the superstorm. It has made landfall south of us. 4 people are dead. Thousands of others have lost their homes. Towns are flooded, power lines are down. The storm is headed north and is expected to make an inland turn. We live inland. We live inland. Susan is 74, which is not a prime number name, and I haven't thought of a new homonym recently. After Mrs. Cushel takes attendance, she asks our class if we'd like to talk about the storm. Everyone says yes. "This is the biggest storm in history," Josh announces. He sounds pleased. "People have already died," says Parvani nervously. I stand up and shout, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Before I can say 17, Mrs. Liebler is marching me to the hall. Uncle Weldon pulls into my driveway at 12:17 p.m. Usually he drops me off and goes right back to his job, but today he has special permission to wait with me until my father comes home. Neither of us talks about the note from Mrs. Liebler. When my father opens the envelope later, he will read about the prime number incident. At 1:21 p.m. my father returns from the J&R garage and my uncle leaves. "We'll try to stay in touch," he says to my father and me. "Hopefully the storm will miss us. Maybe this is a lot of hype after all." "I'll call you tomorrow," my father replies. Uncle Weldon heads down the driveway and I hand over the note. My father reads it as we stand on the porch. He shakes his head. "Geez, Rose, why can't you just say those numbers to yourself?" My father stays at home the rest of the day. He stays at home after dinner, too. Rain and my father and I alone in our house with the 8 tall trees outside. I can hear wind now and a little rain. My father turns on the Weather Channel and I sit across the room with my back to the television. "We're right in the path," I hear my father say. "It can't miss us." "Morgan broke a rule today," I tell him without turning around. "She didn't raise her hand, and she interrupted Mrs. Cushel." My father didn't answer. "You know who else broke a rule? Josh. On the very first day of school he yelled, and yelling is against the rules. You want to come over here and watch this like a normal person?" And once Anders tripped me on purpose, and twice Flo butted into the middle of the lunch line. "Rose, I can't hear the television. And also—" My father stands up fast. He starts to throw the remote control at me, but then I think he remembers that the TV won't work without it, so he puts it down. "Go to your room," he says. I back away from him. Rain follows me to my bed. I get out the list of homonyms. I study it, and then from the living room I hear the Weather Channel's Rex Caprisi say, "Check out the links posted at the bottom of the screen." I jump off my bed. Rain, links, and links, a new homonym. I run my finger down to the L section of the list and see that there isn't space for my new homonym pair. I'll have to rewrite the list, starting with the L section. I haven't gotten any further than Lane Lane when I make an M instead of an N. I throw down my pen. 2, 3, 5, I shout and scrunch up the paper. My father's standing in the doorway in an instant. He looks at me and then at the paper. "I've had just about enough," he says quietly. Rain edges herself between my father and me. "If you can't control yourself here, at least control yourself at school. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the notes. I'm sick of the meetings." "But my homonyms list." My father stoops down and picks up the crumpled paper. "Not another word about homonyms. Put all this stuff away and go to bed right now." My father doesn't leave the doorway, so Rain and I have to change our schedule for the second time that day. I slide under the covers with my clothes on. Rain lies warily next to me. We both have to pee.